for fans of war, there's a new...
Warists.
War enthusiasts. There's a new one in the Middle East, Yemen. There's a war in Yemen now. The Saudi Arabians and a big coalition, like all the Gulf states are doing it. Pakistan is sending the Navy. Egypt is getting involved. Turkey say, you know, I said on the show a few weeks ago, I said, where are the Arab nations fighting their own battles? They heard me. They watched. And they went to war against the Houthis, who I'd never heard of. These are not the Tutsis, these are the Houthis. And the Houthis must be like, what the fuck did we do to get the world against us? Because nobody ever did this before. But the Houthis are backed by Iran. They took over the government in Yemen, and now everybody's attacking them. And it's interesting, the LA Times headline today was, U.S. finds itself on both sides at once in the Middle East, because with the ISIS people, we're with the Iranians. We're helping the Iranians fight the ISIS people. But in Yemen, we're helping the Saudi Arabians.
But it's complicated because the Houthis are also against Al-Qaeda. So that was a complication, and the answer ought to be for us.
But this is a Sunni Shiite throwdown. Isn't this our cue to leave?
Yes.
It's like when you're out with another, you know, you ever been out with another couple at dinner and they have a big fight and you're like, okay, we'll see you on Monday.
But when you've been friends with that couple, though, when you've been in the middle of that fight for so long, it becomes harder to extricate yourself, and also to the point where there's an entire generation of people who have been bred to hate us for being involved in the first place, who are now interested in just exacting the revenge of our involvement. So it's so convoluted that this latest flare-up seems to be just another layer of complication about how do we get out now?
Arguing about how we got pregnant, right? How did we get pregnant? Well, you're pregnant. The baby's coming. You can't get unpregnant. Terrorism is a fact now, and we can either deal with it now or we can deal with it later. It's not going away.
I want to deal with terrorism. When we find the terrorists, we kill them. I'm all for that. But getting involved in these political fights in the countries, pretending that we can make Iraq into a real country when the people in there don't want to be, is a very great mistake.
Given up on that.
All right, well, people want to go back in there because I think that here's
but we just did that strategy in Yemen. We just decided we're going to kill terrorists.
And I want to stay,
and that should do the trick.
I think we should stay out of Yemen. You kill them individually.
But it's also now about the terrorists that are coming from the United States and Europe and being recruited by these people to go there.
There aren't many of them. They're not quantitative, very important. Bill, I think, again, there's a broader question here. There are people who believe that America's role is to be the leader in the world and to preserve order. And I think the time for us to say, you know what, we want to be very strong, we want to defend ourselves, we'll come to the aid of some allies. But we've been the leader for a while. It's been very nice. It's your turn. Let's let somebody else be the leader. Because being the leader means, and
they need to have this fight amongst themselves, the way the Christians and the Protestants did in the 60s.
There are Americans who believe...
It's gonna happen. Let them do it.
There are Americans who believe that, and they say this, they criticize Obama. What's Obama doing about that? Why is it Obama's responsibility to referee these fights of people who've hated each other for a long time? I'm sorry they do. We can't stop it.
Do you think Obama has any responsibility, though,
in Yemen,
for creating a chaos vacuum, say, in Libya, where he sent troops in?
No, I think well, he has a little in Libya. More is for George W. Bush and Dick Cheney. That war in Iraq was the biggest...
who got us pregnant? Let's stop arguing about who got us pregnant.
Why? It's relevant.
Excuse me.
What are you going to do about it now?
I have to respond. First you say, oh, isn't it Obama's fault? When I responded...
I didn't say that.
Yeah, you said, isn't it Obama's responsibility in Libya?
I asked you if he has some responsibility for sending forces
in other words,
into Libya
who got us pregnant in Libya? So you're different about your pregnancy testing.
No, I'm pointing out that you only want to blame Bush.
Yes, I do. Because the war in Iraq, the stupidest thing the American government ever did, the most costly and the most damaging, is a major reason why things began to deteriorate.